everybody, and welcome to the video. Today we're going to be discussing how to integrate your on-premise infrastructure with FortiGate with your Azure infrastructure in the cloud. But first, quick introduction. My name is Mark Connolly, and I'm a cloud cybersecurity architect for Empyrean, and we help customers with Microsoft 365 and their cybersecurity all over the place. So let's get started by looking at an architecture diagram. So I've had a lot of people asking me recently about, Defender for endpoint, passive versus active, Defender for server, Defender for identity, networking, and hub and spoke type peering in the cloud. So I just decided I'm going to build a lab, and I'm going to document all of it, and I'm going to record it, and we can kind of go from there. And as people need help, I can just point them to the videos. So I have done a little bit of building so far, and what I have here is our on-premise infrastructure. As you know, I have a FortiGate system sitting here. I got a 60F firewall, I've got a 108 switch, and I've got, I think, a 224F access point. And the key thing here is we're going to kind of mimic an enterprise network with this. So we've got an admin network, and our admin access workstations are going to be sourced from that network. We have staff networks. Those are going to be the people who access different resources. And then we have our server network over here. And I built a DC so that we can put Defender for endpoint passive mode and have Defender for identity there. We can see what those logs look like. The Hyper-V server, I'm not sure if I can get Defender for endpoint on there quite yet because it's on another tenant, but we'll try. I've got a desktop computer, a laptop computer that is going to be on DHCP, and then I've got a file server over here. So that's our on-premise infrastructure. And kind of the idea with this is that we're going to be moving all of these different resources up to the cloud. So, we got our FortiGate hooked up to the internet. We got our VPNs so our remote users can access things. And our remote VPN is integrated with Azure Active Directory as well as our admin consoles and the security fabric. So we're authenticating with conditional access before we can perform any operations there. But as we extend up to the cloud, right, we've got a domain controller and we got a file server. Another common thing is web servers and SQL servers related to those web servers. So we're actually going to build a tunnel from our FortiGate, and we're going to go up here into the Azure cloud, and we're going to build out some networks, and we're going to connect the tunnel up here. So we're going to treat Azure as just another data center at another location. And the key thing about this is our hub network. So we have a few different ways that people can get into the network other than our firewall, but our firewall is going to be the main logical segment that's going to control all traffic east, west, north, south. So in front of the firewall, we have a few specialized services. So we've got the VPN gateway, and that is specifically so that we can create a tunnel back to our on-premise firewall, and we can just route traffic locally that way. That's going to connect over to our Azure firewall as well. And then if you do stuff on-prem and you have web servers, usually you'll create a VIP in your FortiGate, but it works a little bit differently in Azure. So for web services, specifically, that we present to the public internet, we're going to use an application gateway so that we can put web access firewalls and DDoS protection on that. And then Bastion is just kind of a backup, just-in-time administration tier that you can do via the web console. So if at any point in time your VPN breaks, your access breaks, or whatever, you're not locked out of your Azure resources. If you need to administer them, we're going to have a Bastion network so that we can have backup administrative options. But then this is our hub, and everything is going to feed to the firewall. And then anything that needs to get to any other servers, the firewall is going to make that decision. So we're going to basically funnel all of our traffic through this, whether it comes from the public internet, whether it comes from the VPN gateway, whether it comes from Bastion. It's going to go through the firewall, and then we're going to peer to these other network services. So because I have Active Directory on-prem and file services on-prem, I've created an Active Directory VNet, a file services VNet, and there's going to be an ARC object in there because we want to do Defender for server. So both of those servers are going to be registered, and they're going to have an ARC object, and they're going to be reporting back their analytics to the cloud in the log analytics workspace. And then specifically for Active Directory, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up another Active Directory domain controller so that we can replicate over the tunnels and kind of see what that looks like. Over here in the file services VNet, we're going to have the file server ARC object, as well as Azure files, because the goal is to get off of our on-premise file server and to go eventually get over to blob storage, Azure files, whatever you want to call it. And then over here on our web apps tier, you can go IaaS or you can go PaaS on this side. I prefer PaaS. PaaS is the most practical solution, but a lot of legacy stuff runs on IaaS web servers. But regardless of whether it's IaaS or PaaS, we're going to present our URLs via the app gateway, and then that's going to route privately back here to our app service layer, whether that's IaaS or PaaS. And then behind that, like most web applications, it's going to have a database. So we got a separate subnet for the databases. We can use network security groups and application security groups to control traffic between those things. And then over here on the right, we've actually got the ARC objects for a web server and a SQL server. I'm not actually going to build those in the lab because Defender for Server is a little bit pricey, but you get the point, right? So whether we want to open up access to our Azure resources via the public internet, we have a firewall. All of our on-premise connectivity from our local networks is going to go over the VPN gateway. And then we have a DMZ segment with our app gateway. So traffic coming in from the public internet to xyzwebsite.com is going to go through DDoS. It's going to go through web application firewall filters. And then it's going to get passed on to the web server. So we're actually going to build this. So we have our local FortiGate here. And we can see we have a FortiGate, we have a switch, we have the whole security fabric stuff running here. We're going to integrate with our external connectors to Azure so that we can just dynamically get all the software-defined networking objects from Azure, pull them down, and then we can feed those into our policies on the firewall. And then we're actually going to go through and build out the Azure infrastructure as well. So I haven't built out the hub network. I haven't built out any of the spoke networks, or the landing zone networks, whichever one you prefer. And we're going to go through step by step, and we're going to do all of these things in the various videos coming next after this. So if this is something that you look forward to and you want to kind of play along with us as we build this, this is incredibly helpful. Once we get the infrastructure built out, we can basically stand up any other landing zone after that, whether it's AI services or SQL databases or whatever you want to do, Azure functions. Because we have this hub here, we can basically just create whatever extra landing zones we want. And as long as we peer them, and we use a user-defined route to basically force route traffic through the firewall is going to be the control point for all traffic east, west, north, south. So it's going to need a policy in order to work, and we have security controls on it after that. Switching back over here to our on-premise network, another thing that this is going to give us the ability to do is see Defender in action. So I'm going to have various setups with the different Defender levels, passive, active, Bitdefender, Defender for identity, whatever. But I'm going to get all that stuff set up. I'm going to put some sensitive information on that file share. I'm going to copy that information up to Azure Files. The domain controllers are going to be synchronizing identity up to the Azure DC. I'm not going to do AD Connect because I'm already cloud and I don't want to revert. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get one of my red team friends to actually break into this and try and pivot around and see what they can do and hack it and try and exploit things. All these servers are vanilla. I didn't patch them. I didn't do any server hardening. I haven't applied any security baselines. So there's probably something in there out of the box that that somebody can get a hold of to pivot through Active Directory, dump the LSAS, take over the domain. And then I want to see if they can pivot up to Azure. And hopefully the ideal experiment is I'm going to see exactly what's going on in Defender. There's going to be an incident to track this. We can look at the timeline. We can look at the evidence collections, automated investigation and response, and we can kind of see what Microsoft is doing in action in conjunction with Fortinet, right? Because Fortinet's got your network layer, right? So they connect to the VPN, they connect to the administrative console. We're using Azure Active Directory to control that. If you're using the FortiNAC, we can use Intune compliance levels to integrate with that, so they have to be Intune compliant before they can even access the network layer. So we got the Fortinet controls, but a lot of the Microsoft controls are new, and it's a little bit more difficult for people to wrap their heads around because the cloud does things very, very differently. So I wanted to just kind of build a system and do a step-by-step attempt to try and breach that system and see what the logs and analytics look like on the back end. So if that's something that you're interested in, stick around. There's going to be a bunch of videos popping up after this. So I look forward to seeing you on the next video.